1.
Play like that with the skipping part. Because it does, I like it. I always call it the remix if it does.
Unintentional. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Little RPG, Geek Bites Podcast. That's the other show.
Geek Bites Podcast.
On this side. I am Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Acosta.
And this is episode number 116. Wow, we're way past the 100 mark.
Yeah.
And every single podcast, we bring you the round of the week's best geek and tech news. We've got that news. And, of course, anything else that we're interested in that week.
Exactly. In Geek News this week, we'll talk about the worldwide ransomware attack, iPhone 8 leaks, the New Mutants, Judge Dredd TV, the movie trailers, showdowns, and much, much more.
And, of course, we begin our show, though, with Geek News.
Hope you guys were doing some safe surfing.
Yep, this week we had a huge ransom infection around the world in 99 countries. It's one of the biggest cases of simultaneous attack that the internet has seen. And this piece of ransomware not only attacked regular computers, but also corporations, hospitals, utility companies, and it just appeared everywhere. They demanded between $300 $600 in Bitcoin to decrypt the computer systems, and they said, we'll give you 3 days, and if you don't pay, you'll double the price. And in 7 days, your information will be lost forever. And it has since, a lot of the exploits have been patched, but it's still out there, and people have a choice to either pay or try to get somebody to fix their stuff. So I hope you have your Windows update updated.
Oh, excuse me. Oh yeah, man, I tripped me out on that. I always wondered if for like big companies, especially like a hospital, they a lot of people still have hardware copies of documents and all that, obviously file cabinets and stuff like that exist. But when they go digital, do they have a separate, like the way we do, back it all up on a separate hard drive and just have it stored away safely somewhere, not worried about it?
You'd think they would, but even it depends on how their network is set up. Sometimes even those systems can be completely encrypted and locked. And with the state of encryption the way it is almost impossible to unencrypt it on your own in some instances. And so unless they give you that digital key, or you take it to somebody who specializes in that kind of work, that information is potentially lost. And in the case of like government hospital records, utility companies not being able to access their computer systems, that can be some major issues. And a lot of times these companies just find like, okay, we'll pay you $600, and because the amount of money that they're losing per hour is a heck of a lot more than that. And that's kind of what ransomware people are depending on, is that there are enough of an inconvenience that people are more willing to pay than not.
Of course, because if you think about it this way, if 1 million people paid a penny, it's okay,
Yeah.
It's up there in the money. But if 1 million people were paying $300 to $600 a piece, cha-ching.
Yeah. But on the other flip side of this is not really considered a successful ransomware attack because people know about it, which means that people can then patch against it. One of the better ways, or the most successful ransomware attacks, are ones nobody knows about.
Exactly.
An exploit is found. It's computers are taken over, and the companies just don't report it because they don't want the bad publicity. But in this case, because everybody does know about it, people around the world are working overtime to get this stuff fixed and get their systems patched, so that this becomes essentially a less effective attack long term.
I don't know whose idea was it. If it was an individual greedy guy, but if it was a group of people,
Oh no, this is majorly group stuff. I mean, it took advantage of a Windows exploit that had just been reported like the day before. So this was already prepared in advance and just took advantage of a system flaw.
Yeah.
Not good. Yeah,
not good in general.
Yeah, so again, the biggest thing you can do for your own personal safety in your computer is just make sure your system's updated. Windows regularly patches your stuff, but not everybody has automatic updates on their system, and so they manually have to update it. And so if that's one of the cases, just go manually update your stuff, or turn on automatic updates so that it's automatically done for you every single time. And occasionally that introduces new flaws, but for the most part, that is...
They'll hopefully meet up enough.
Yeah, for somebody who's not looking at their system every day, that's the easiest way to make sure your computer is safe, and it's already something that's installed in your computer for free. It doesn't cost anything, so...
Yeah. Too bad this is one of those like bad hacking computer pirate kind of groups compared to like Anonymous when they expose the bad guys for showing their true colors.
Yeah.
You think these people would say if you were to hold ransom the big bad corporations and get that money back to
this is money. This is essentially a bank robbery.
Just greed. Yeah. I just wish it was, like Robin Hood style, steal from the rich and give to the poor thing,
Well, speaking of a Robin Hood style, our next story is kind of like that.
Yeah. Let's see. On John Oliver's Last Week Tonight, on program Sunday, he urged viewers to express opposition to the U.S. FCC chairman, Ajit Pai's net neutrality. Excuse me. Neutrality? Neutrality. Okay. The FCC website crashed afterwards, and the FCC says it was a subject of multiple distributed denial of service attacks. So
yeah, so this is kind of an ongoing story. In the case that last week's show of John Oliver's Last Week Tonight, he talked about the FCC's attempt to change the rules in the near future because they got a new head of their department appointed by the president. And that head of the new FCC has stated very categorically and out loud that he wants to change the FCC rules essentially to allow internet service providers to not have to follow current net neutrality rules. And in this instance, it's a case of them having the ability, not say that they're going to, but having the ability without any legal consequence of choosing winners and possibly restricting streams of competitors, or choosing to restrictions of people using too much data, or choosing which types of data they're going to allow or charge more for, charge less for. And all that stuff is potentially anti-competitive, but in the most broadest sense, it definitely has the potentiality to restrict freedom of internet, which is kind of the big thing. And so this actually happened last year, and John Oliver did the exact same thing, and people, because of this particular show, people flooded that FCC website then and crashed it, and it happened again this time. Only in this case, the FCC is already saying we're not going to be swayed by mass opinions, basically. And so there were also apparently some hackers who watched the show, and
way to go.
The FCC says they were attacked with the denial of service attack, but at the same time, it could have just been a lot of people doing the same thing at the same time,
flooding,
which would have looked like the same thing. But I thought it was a very interesting in that there is still a power in television and a power in media to actually affect change in this instance. So I thought it was cool.
Along with John Oliver, another person is like Stephen Colbert. He's more on the political side of things, not necessarily rebelling against Donald Trump.
But
he gives a very
political
open opinion.
Political comedy, political humor, yes.
Yeah, very open opinion on how he feels about him.
Emphasis on the comedy side, I think, for me.
Yeah, because it's humor.
I mean, he comes from The Daily Show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that they have a very similar, like, emphasis, like, yes, the stories are real. The stories may be political interest.
Yeah.
But humor is always the mainstay, like conveying that information to people and making it palatable to them.
Oh yeah,
I love the show personally.
Especially, I like that one joke that people have done, especially as joke services. Is I don't know if you ever heard it, where what was that one group that was kind of like a shut-in Oregon that they try to take over like a little forestry station kind of deal.
Oh, I don't remember the name of the group itself. I remember the incident that you're referring to.
Yeah, but the joke was a lot of people didn't like him because they were like a white kind of,
No, it was basically this is our land. We shouldn't have to pay taxes on it for our cattle to come through. And in reality, it was actually federal land.
Yeah.
But it was a bunch of gun-toting white guys who were trying to protest against government, and part of it was that, if there were black people or people of color, they would have been shot already.
Exactly.
It was around that time frame.
So the joke was pretty much that some people that didn't like them, but they were sending them stuff to quote unquote support them.
Well, yeah, because they had asked for supplies on the internet, and they made this real on YouTube call for, because they didn't come prepared apparently for the cold winter.
Exactly.
And they're asking for supplies and food and blankets so that they can keep up their fight. And people sent them something else instead.
And what was the one thing they sent them? Literally a bag of dicks.
Yep.
Gummies.
Not just that. They actually also sent them like actual purple dildos, like giant.
It was actually a tub, a barrel, oil drum barrel of lube.
Yep.
So it was like
so they got
pretty
some,
much
they got some supplies.
stuff to literally
Nobody
go fuck themselves.
nobody reported that those supplies went missing mysteriously.
Exactly.
So, but again, the power of the internet, the power of the media is definitely still present.
And of the people. So hopefully, I'm all about big mass movements.
Yeah.
But in a positive way, you know, for the good of the people, not just like
everybody
takeovers.
has the opportunity to express their opinion in America, at least, and that is still alive. If not, outside, I think everybody can agree that that's a good thing. That it still exists for the time being.
Exactly. I can only imagine if you sent the White House like a bag of dicks and oil drums of lube.
I'm sure people have. He just goes to a room somewhere. It's like labeled "bag of dick room" or something. Yeah. Okay, now speaking of less freedom of press, in our next story, which is kind of sad, a court in Yezhinsk, Russia, has given a suspended 3.5-year jail sentence and 160 hours of community service to blogger Ruslan Slovodsky for inciting religious hatred. Slovodsky posted a video on YouTube of himself playing Pokemon Go in a Russian Orthodox church. This is no joke. This literally happened. He was arrested. He used apparently strong language, mocking Christianity. And after the sentence, Slovodsky said, "I'm content. I won't play Pokemon. It's already out of fashion." So the dude skated by. I mean, he was facing up to 5 years in jail for this. They did arrest him for it. And under those rules, he really could have faced 5 years in jail for playing Pokemon Go and basically making fun of religion because under these rules, he was inciting religious hatred by commenting on and not agreeing with the majority religion. And this is not the first time this has happened in Russia.
Well, religious oppression's always kind of been around for a while. This
isn't exactly religious oppression. It's the opposite. It's
and it was, a little worse extreme back in the day.
Yeah.
Remember the whole, torture chambers in the name of God thing
you
to
mean
convert
the
them.
Spanish Inquisition, the variety of like religious indoctrinations and proselytation programs,
taking over other people's.
It's been worse. You're absolutely correct. But this I think is funny because he got plagued for picking Pokemon Go.
What?
I'm like,
God?
oh, that's yeah.
Out of all the things, and like,
but like I said, the guy faced his sentence with head on. He didn't try to run from the police. I mean, I got to give credit for that.
Who knows, man? There might have been a very rare Pokemon in that, like the little church or
no. This is entirely political commentary. I mean, you set something this up. You're trying to make a statement.
What if there was a Mewtwo? That was a joke that there was a Mewtwo at Area 51.
Oh yeah.
And who knows what kind of Pokemon would be in a church? It could be a Gyarados in the Vatican.
There are lots of churches. I mean, every single church that you see on your map has a Pokestop because it's recognized as a landmark. And so that's part of the reason why he was there. It was a Pokestop, for that game. So anyone who's played the game is like, oh yeah, I've maybe parked outside of a church on occasion to catch a Pokemon or to capture a gym. And just imagine you doing that, and the police pull up behind you, lights turn on, and the next thing you know, you're in jail.
Like Pokemon, there's being shunned for watching porn. Bad taste in music or whatever, something very anti-religious.
Yeah,
but Pokemon.
No. I think part of it was also the commentary why he was playing it against Christianity, which is again just speech. But again, another place on the world, that speech is considered a crime because it goes against the majority.
I thought it'd be more of because of the hand gestures.
No. Although in some religions,
like
Pokemon also were considered tools of Satan. I remember when the cards originally came out because they were called Pokemon monsters and you capture them. A lot of churches said, "Oh, that's a tool of the devil. Yeah, you're playing with monsters summoned from hell." And that could be an aspect of it. Okay, next tech story.
Advancements in technology, everybody. Amazon put the Amazon Echo Show, an Amazon Echo with a screen for video. Up for pre-order in the U.S. for only $230, shipping in June 28th.
Yep. This is kind of a cool piece of tech. I thought it was nice. It's the Amazon Echo with the video screen. A lot of people actually really love their Amazon Echoes. It gives them a sense of the future because they can literally just call out the name and order things from the internet or ask for other reports or the time or play music automatically. And it connects with a lot of other digital devices, including like their lighting systems, so they can literally come in their homes and yell, a phrase they program like turn on lights, and their lights will turn on or off. it makes them feel like it's the home of the future, and it's a really well-made product and been really well received and reviewed all on the internet. And this kind of adds another layer of like, oh, I can now play videos on the thing itself, because a lot of people use it in their kitchen, and so having that connectivity without an additional monitor or something is very useful. I'm curious to see if it's going to also work with the other version of this, which is the one with the camera and the microphone, which is supposed to watch you and give you fashion tips.
We'll see how it turns out, because honestly, it does have a camera. It's not exactly a 3D camera. I don't know what other sensors that it does consist of, and it is literally just the smart house adaptation for any regular house. Now, from what I see on it, obviously you can make web calling and whatnot, so I just don't know on the type of service. I'm guessing most likely like Skype or so, will you be able to work on it. Probably some downloading apps, features on that, because very few monitor systems other than like myself using a baby monitor.
Yep.
Nowadays you can pretty much have the app on your phone.
Or you can just use a webcam. I mean, it's not that complicated. It's a live stream to somewhere, and as long as you encrypt it where people can't watch your kid for you.
And then there's that one factor that people trip out, like, oh, people are going to be watching me, blah blah blah.
Potentially,
so just cover the camera.
That's an issue. Yeah, you should probably not have a phone.
Exactly.
Because it can do the same thing if people get access to your system. That's always the trade-off between, super cool stuff and potential security leaks. And that's why it's important to, get the products with the good security, and also to make sure your own system is well-maintained and secure. And most people just don't know how to do it, which is that.
You got to think of it as a trade-off.
Yeah.
If you want access to them,
they're
going to have access to you.
Yeah.
So... I see good points on it. I was surprised.
Cool. It looks cool though.
Pretty big speaker, kind of like on the bottom.
Well, it just fits the TV. I think that's what it's playing around about.
I haven't read all the specs, so I got to see how big exactly the monitor is.
Now I got this next story. I picked it out just for you, buddy. Yeah.
Read it.
Yeah, it's called "Women Control Sperm with Her Mind." That's right, folks. It's a spermy news article.
Jizz.
Yep. This is actually a very interesting. Kind of science artistic product or art project. It is Liu. His product is a piece of performance art in which she dons an EEG machine, a brain computer interface, which measures the electric activity generated by thoughts to direct the movements of sperm along the X and Y axis. That's up and down, left and right, folks. By using a process called galvanotaxis, she changes the electromagnetic field, causing the sperm to swing left to right, up and down. And the activity is projected into like a wall screen, and she captures it on video. So she's literally putting a machine on her head and controlling sperm by making them go left, right, up, and down as part of an art project and a statement about women's reproductive rights and place in society. So it's very interesting, but I thought it was cool. Like, women control sperm with their mind. Actually true.
No, I thought she was just going to be yelling at somebody's balls.
And that you thought they were just going to die suddenly? Is that what it was?
Something like that. Yeah. Everybody, women. Oh, so it was interesting, but like the art form of it, I was like, wasn't sure. What do you mean by mind
I was
control?
most intrigued by the tech portion of it, because this is stuff that anybody can essentially do.
Yeah,
I mean, you understand the science of something, and she's using it to make a artistic statement. That's cool, but that there's still actual science and technology that she had to understand to make this kind of art product. I'm like, that's great.
Like using technology to manipulate any kind of life form, or honestly, that it shows an involvement in both science and science in general. Because there are some toys. Have you ever seen the toys like the mind controlled hovercrafts?
Yeah.
The little floaty ball things that you do as a little.
I prefer the ones that use the mind or the sensors that make you have like anime ears.
Oh yeah,
that move.
Little,
it detects some, like changes in your thought patterns and flips and switches to make the ears move according to your emotional state or something. I always think those are cool too.
Yeah, because once again, controlling a life form is not like you're adding a little chip kind of thing. No,
this is a very simple version of that. And it can only be done with like a small single-celled organism like sperm, in that their movement is dictated by an electromagnetic field. So it's a very specific kind of exploit of biology. But again, these are things that are happening more and more. What's called biological hacking.
That's why I was kind of wondering, especially being like a feminist kind of project. I thought like the way you see on the screen, you see all the sperm swimming around randomly wild. But then when she dons the headgear, they all line up and like form a word that says like men suck, women rule or something like that, all lined
That
up
would
in
have been
uniform.
that would have been much more. I think newsworthy and newsworthy.
Instead of like, oh, they're going to
left and right,
oh,
yeah,
right, up and down.
yeah. This is, I mean, science can do only so much, I guess.
Or if like the other joke would have been like, the chick puts on the headgear and is trying to control it, and the sperm unite together and form like a big middle finger towards the lady. Like
that would have also been super interesting.
Go into the kitchen
absolutely.
and make me a sandwich.
Yeah. But she starts sending a message with sperm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Next story.
Yeah, the French gadget leaker Steve Hemmenstoffer, who goes by on links on Twitter, posted a reindeer video of on Tuesday that he says depicts the upcoming iPhone based on a factory computer assisted design schematic, or CAD.
CAD.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a CAD design. Basically, it's a CAD design. It basically shows off what the next iPhone may look like. It looks very sleek. It kind of looks like an Android phone in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's just not the home button. But a lot of Apple fanboys and girls are very interested in this kind of thing. So I figured we show it off for you folks at home.
Yeah. So there's the little minor race, if you will, going on between the of course the Droids and the iPhones.
Minor. It's like the whole kit and caboodle, man.
Yeah, but like right now, obviously, other than
although Facebook is putting their 2 cents of them, saying that they're developing technology that'll make cell phones obsolete. So I'm like, hey, great.
Show it, prove it. Because other than, of course, the Samsung failure of the exploding...
yeah, but they've already moved on to the next phone already.
Yeah, they got into the 8s.
They have like 2 other phones that have come out since then, and their sales have not been hampered by that at all. So that debacle. So great on them.
I still give it that little time, because, eventually there's going to be those news reports of,
No,
they find some kind of flaw in it.
There are already like reports that this is the most breakable version of the Samsung line phones, because it's so super thin that it's just so easy to bend and then crack the screen. But hey, that's what you're getting with any kind of thin phone, that it's a little easier to break than like a thicker phone.
Especially if you put it in your back pocket and sit down.
Yep. So just be aware.
Yeah.
Okay. Next story we have on the new episode of Make It Real. James Hobberson, aka Hacksmith, has debuted the final test of his custom-made grappling hook. Now, last December, he made a prototype and he showed it off, but this latest build has dual power engines combined at 8 horsepower each, making it a significant boost over the previous version. And we have the link for the YouTube video if you want to go watch it, but it's just him in a Batman costume scaling up and down walls, shooting the thing out, and it actually carrying him up, like Batman version of like something from the actual comics. But it's pretty big and beefy, though.
Yeah, he's made other awesome devices. He's made a replica of the Iron Man shield with a magnetic forearm kind of thing. Workable.
Yeah, he makes things in also the gadget version of it, not just the like man-at-arms. This is a realistic version of this thing. He does. How do we make this like it would be in real the comics or the video games?
He was working on making a somewhat of the Iron Man suit, just lifting himself a little bit with using like almost like jet engines or something. Yep. I'm surprised. I give him all the credit for being amazing on making him. I'm just surprised he hasn't lost a limb or anything from like a trial and error, obviously.
Yeah, that's why you test these things before you start recording them.
Yeah, but it's fun. I don't. What do you think is going to be next? What do you think is going to be his next gadget that you see in the movies or in the comics, cartoons, or whatever that he could create?
I'm hoping projectile-based Green Lantern ring where he makes things out of thin air or holograms.
That'd be cool.
That's what I wish for. I mean, who doesn't want to make things out of thin air?
Well, at least for just watching, obviously we just saw Guardians. I would see if he could make
the
that.
Zandu?
Arrow? The arrow that goes where we can whistle.
I guess you could do it that way. I mean, you have the hover technology controlled by your thoughts kind of thing. You just have to custom fit it make it look like an arrow.
Exactly.
That would be possible. Okay. Next entertainment story.
Yeah. Following in the footsteps of her TV sister Sophie Turner, Maisie Williams is joining the XMen. The Game of Thrones breakout star has signed on to the star in the New Mutants, a spin-off series. She'll be joining by a new Queen of Horror, Anya Taylor-Joy, in the Josh Boone directed project. The New Mutants was the first The Mutants was the first X-Men comic spin-off, and it follows a group of teenage mutants as they train to become superheroes. Williams will play Wolfsbane. Awesome. who the Hollywood Reporter described as a girl struggling to reconcile her religious beliefs with her power to turn into a wolf. Taylor-Joy also returns to her roots to play Magic, a character with the power of sorcery and teleportation. The British actress first came to the public attention in 2015. 2015's The Witch. Mutants expected to be released April 2018.
Yep, so it's kind of a neat story. Game of Thrones actress turns mutant again. She's actually a really good actress. I've seen her in a number of products, and some are humorous, some are fun. She's really working that Game of Thrones fame, though, in doing other fun things besides like fantasy stuff. She's playing it well, I think.
Well, now that they, at least in the, I don't want to call it Singer universe, but the Fox X-Men universe, now that they got Havoc, now that you got Wolfsbane, they're just missing a couple more key characters, and they create X Factor if they want.
Yeah,
you just need a strong guy. Let's see who's missing. Strong guy.
Well, no, there are also rumors that they're pulling together people for an X Factor, either cameo or their own type of movie, and it wouldn't be surprising. I mean, they own all the mutants in the Marvel universe, so there's a ton of stuff. I'm surprised it's taking them this long to realize the slate of people that they have to work with in creating these shows. I mean, you think of what DC's doing in Marvel, and just the Fox portion of it with the mutant stuff has just like a ton of things.
They got so much to do. It's just hopefully they do it right. That was always been my flaw on it, because I always hated where they go. Wolfsbane, yes, she's turned into a wolf, but she's more like a werewolf.
Yeah,
kind of. She's never turned full dog. Kind of deal. So I want to see what they're gonna go. And Magic, especially, I want to see if they're gonna show her connection with Colossus.
Yeah, that's a much more powerful character to me than Wolfsbane.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's like heavy hitter Omega style stuff. Exactly. Okay. Next story though, on to Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant comes out next week, folks. People are discussing the film Prometheus that came before it. Director Ridley Scott admitted to fans on Yahoo Movies interview, saying that the fans actually had a really big part in how the direction he took Alien Covenant, including bringing back the Xenomorphs as a full major character. He said, "quote unquote." It went straight up to them and discovered that the fans were really frustrated. They wanted to see more of the original monster, and I thought it was definitely cooked. And with an orange in his mouth, I thought, okay, wow, I'm wrong. The fans is a funny kind of way. They're not the final word, but they are the reflection of your doubts about something. And then you realize I was wrong or I was right. I think that's where it comes in. I think you're not sensible if you don't actually take the fans' reactions into account. So, folks, if you were complaining about it on the internet about Prometheus not having enough alien in it, he heard you apparently, and apparently, as it should, helped him to dictate the course of action for the latest Alien franchise movie. So, yeah.
Yeah, fans matter, because honestly, if they tell you you suck...
Yeah, they're paying the bucks for it, man.
Exactly. Take it in heart. Take it in mind. You're like, all right, we'll redo it.
I mean, personally, I like Prometheus the way it is. I mean, I like the fact that it is a prequel movie, and so it shouldn't necessarily show...
just the aliens the whole time.
Yeah, it should show the origins of the aliens, and it does that. But in the same way, I do understand the reaction that they thought it was going to be one thing, an Aliens prequel, and it really was just almost a standalone film that happened to be connected to this alien world.
Exactly, and they got to show the evolutionary part of the alien. You can't just be, they've been like this the whole time. No, everything had to start from somewhere. Yeah. So I want to see what's around. I saw the trailer for it. Did you like it?
I think it is more like the original Aliens movie than Prometheus. I don't know how good it's going to be. There are mixed reviews coming out from early reviewers, and I will go watch it, and I will make a decision at that point. But I'm hopeful that it is going to be entertaining.
That's
all I can ask for.
That's the main important, man. If you want the money. All right.
Okay.
So...
Now this is actually an update on a story we did last week about them finally showing a cast photo of the Inhumans, and we talked about how one particular character was going to communicate, and we hypothesized one thing, but you can read the story.
Exactly. Almighty Black Bolt. Black Bolt will be communicating to the other Inhumans using sign language, which is awesome. Yep. American Sign Language, most likely.
I hope it's intergalactic sign language.
Well, technically, yeah, he is.
I'm just saying.
Otherworldly being. So... it's going to be great, especially for those hearing impaired, which I'm wondering if it's how it's going to translate. If like when he does his sign language, if it'll be captions on the bottom, or is it going to be one of those things like he does the sign language, and then the actor's gonna kind of repeat the same thing that he said. Like,
I would hope
what do you mean? Go get the car, or
they'll probably do something along the lines of both. I mean, I hope the captioning works, because otherwise, half the show is going to be just him doing things and hoping we understand.
Well, they've done. Remember, a long time ago,
they could also do like sign to speech. Like, he's an alien, he has technology, so he might just use like a sign to speech program, which is readily available now in the modern world.
What's his name? Wheelchair guy, Stephen Hawking.
Oh yeah, sort of. Except that it reads his sign language. Like there's a some device, gloves, whatever. When he signs, it actually talks. That could be a way of them doing it as well, and getting around the need for subtitles, or like them creating their own sign language and still making it understandable to everyone else. Or
having like that episode. Do you ever watch there was this episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where for some apparent reason nobody could speak, and so they literally had a dry erase board with them the whole time. They were like, so it was like that.
There are plenty of story options. Yeah. I agree. Okay, next story. On to Judge Dredd TV. Entertainment Weekly announced that there's going to be a new series called Judge Dredd Mega City 1. This is how they describe it. The show is set in the future where the east coast of the U.S. has become a crowded and criminal-ridden megatropolis. It will be an ensemble drama about a team of judges, futuristic cops invested with the power to be judge, jury, and executioner, as they deal with the challenges of the future shock 22nd century throws at them. So this is, I like the Judge Dredd license, and I think it's been underutilized personally.
Oh yeah.
So making it a detective show kind of makes sense.
I like the Sylvester Stallone version. I liked actually that one. I don't want to call it a reboot, but the
it was a reboot. Sequel? Yeah, the one with this guy here, the Doctor from Star Trek, and a bunch of other stuff.
And of course, the comic books in general were good. I don't think, at least to the best of my knowledge, I don't think they've ever made an animated series, which I'm surprised they haven't. It takes place, especially in that kind of future, reminds me a lot of like Aeon Flux. But I would love to see like Judge Dredd in a real city environment, say like doing like a time travel kind of thing.
Well, they've done crossovers and time travel stuff with the series before, like Judge Dredd and Batman versus the Predator, I think was one thing that they did at one point. Or Judge Dredd and, meets Superman.
I would see like Judge Dredd in Detroit. That would have been cool. Or like especially Judge Dredd.
You mean like RoboCop Detroit, or is that what you mean?
Yeah, there you go. I think that crossover happened too.
It might have. Comics are comics. Similar, they do fun things sometimes.
Any kind of like law enforcement one, or if not, get certain and this is just for joke wise, like TV show judges and put them into the Judge Dredd-ish outfit, like Judge Judy.
Cameos,
Judge Judy just taking off her helmet and just like you see her little.
That would be very entertaining. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Her little doily kind of little neck handkerchief kind of thing, but still rocking the armor.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, nice cameo. Good idea. Write that in.
Pat Penny.
Okay, next story.
All right, Mr. Lovely Deadpool. This week, FXX put in a series for a untitled Marvel's Deadpool animated adult action comedy TV series for Marvel's Television and FX Productions. Donald Glover, the Golden Globe Award-winning creator of Atlanta, and Stephen Glover will serve as showrunners, writers, and executive producers of the series. Marvel's Jeff Loeb and Jim Corey are executive producers.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. The opportunity to see a Deadpool animated series. I'm kind of curious to see how R-rated they're going to go with it, though.
Well, I was wondering how well it would transfer over, because I'm not sure if he's still currently writing, but Brian Posehn was actually writing the Deadpool comic book series for World, and he's a pretty good comedian. He's like, I'm not knocking on his abilities and all that. I just wasn't sure, obviously, if any of the comic book jokes that he wrote would transfer over well to
No, but I think Deadpool definitely has an animated flair that works well with the animation, because you can see all the things that he's thinking, all the weird things you can't do on a live action stage necessarily. He's made a number of appearances like in the Spider-Man animated series, and it's been very entertaining. So
there's even been animes of him. I don't know if it was like a whole movie, and he's done, of course, like, I don't know if it's like cameo spots, but he has been featured in like you probably seen it. It was Wolverine versus the Hulk, and he ends up going back to the Weapon X Project, and of course Deadpool was there, and some of the other characters on there, and he was very well. And I don't know who's gonna voice him. You know, of course, everybody would prefer Ryan Reynolds.
I'm sure if they pay him enough, or you know, it ties into the latest movie, he'll be happy to do it.
Or if they get the voice actor that did the Deadpool cartoon, the Deadpool video game, he was actually pretty good.
Like it's less important about the voice as much as it is as how bloody and cursy it is to me.
Yeah, you could be saying fuck as you're cutting and shooting people up.
Yeah,
you got to have a punchline though. You know.
No. I'm sure. I'm assuming the jokes are going to be good. Yeah. But I mean, like, if I had to choose between Ryan Reynolds doing the voice and actually it being a decent entertainment, I'm going to go with the entertainment. I mean,
of course.
I don't want to spend the entire budget on Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean? He's expensive. Other people can do his voice. There are plenty of people who can do that voice. Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
I'm trying to think. Well, of course, with me, any character, I don't care how serious or how hard or whatever, in my mind, Gilbert Gottfried.
That would be an entertaining run.
Deadpool.
Yeah. Okay, next story. Now, there's some spoilers in this next one, folks. If you don't want to hear spoilers by the Defenders, just skip ahead or plug your ears for the next minute-ish. Okay? There's been a lot of secrecy around Sigourney Weaver's role in the Defenders. She's known as by the name Alexandra. She has been confirmed as being a villain. However, this week it was revealed, unfortunately, by the Stephanie Malinsky, who is the costume designer for the Defenders. She apparently revealed in a interview with International Business Times that, here's a spoiler, that Sigourney Weaver is going to be the leader of the Hand. So that's kind of a big spoiler to me. Like, I feel that's something that we're going to reveal throughout, like, mid-season of the Defenders.
I thought it was the old Asian chick.
No, she is a leader of one branch of the Hand, like the old school ninjas. But they revealed during, like, the Iron Fist section. Have you finished that series?
Yeah.
Okay, then they also revealed that there's, like, other branches of the Hand with different, like, sub-leaders. I'm assuming she's going to be, like, the big leader.
Good hand, bad hand, backhand.
Yeah. I never thought about it. That's probably correct. But she seems to be a highly placed political figure. I know, you know, she's also the most well paid. So you might as well make her, you know, the big head of all the hands together. So she might be somebody. Because I know that one Asian lady is supposed to also be like I think a dragon or something. Like she's lived for like hundreds of thousands of years or something. I don't remember if she's like the dragon portion, one of them, where she just has that, you know, hand blood thing going on where she's immortal.
Who knows? So unless it's they take kind of like the route of the DC Lazarus pit kind of thing, and they put her in that little tomb coffin thing, the way spoiler kind of thing that looks like they're bringing back Elektra from the dead. Which
I know that they did it with remember Danny Rand's uncle. He died, and they basically injected him with like some magic formula that killed him, but brought him back 3 days later, and now he's immortal. Like the only way to kill him, like people would be to chop off his head.
Exactly.
And I assume at least that the old Asian lady has that particular thing. But to me, from her fight with Daredevil, it seems that she has even more power than just that particular level of handiness. So I mean, the big power behind the hat was always going to be like those ancient dragons, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like those ancient space dragons, which I always thought was weird. So to me, I don't remember if it's in the comics or not, but she could be one of those in human form or something else.
Yeah, because there's the whole dragon planet with Fig Fang Foom, which is a gigantic. Yeah, it's a weird route when they go that way, but
magic space dragons.
Yeah, because that was the thing with it exactly with the hand. They borderlined a little bit of sorcery and stuff. So who knows? Maybe even Doctor Strange will have a little effect on it. At least
there have been some rumors from various directors in the Marvel universe saying at some point they think they will be crossing over with like the TV Marvel universe. So hopefully those guys in the TV will make big appearances in maybe Infinity Wars or something. That'd be kind of nice. Because we already know. I remember some of the characters from the Marvel universe are coming to the Infinity Wars, like people from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, well, Coulson.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, Coulson is definitely a big one, but also other characters like Quake, I think, was confirmed showing him Infinity Wars. But like, there's larger crossovers.
I think that as awesome as that would be, I think it's just going to be a little semi-questionable because the whole thing with the Avengers is they assumed Coulson was dead.
Yes.
And that was a big dramatic scene.
Yeah.
So I think reintroduce, hey, I've been alive the whole time.
Infinity Wars might be the great place to do. It's like, oh, hey, aren't you I mean, you're seeing everybody else. You might as well resolve this thing now, while they can be distracted by the big giant guy murdering everybody.
We'll talk later.
Or you can really die again.
Mm-hmm.
You thought you were dead, and now you're being murdered for reals.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. So that's why I think it's supposed to be a two-parter, right? But there was the rumor that it's gonna stick to one.
That's in flux. I don't know. I don't recall what the current thing is.
They got plenty of time.
Yeah.
So while everybody's still alive and able.
Yes, we're looking forward to Thor Ragnarok, which actually looks really good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. Next story, Hellboy.
Yeah. The good news and bad news this week for all you Hellboy fans. Bad news. Will never be a third Hellboy film from Guillermo del Toro starring Ron Perlman as Big Red.
That's sad.
The good news. Comic book creator Mike Mignola?
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, go on.
Has just announced via his Facebook page that Hellboy will indeed return to the big screen in a new movie reboot from Game of Thrones director Neil Marshall, starring Stranger Things David Harbour.
So there you go, folks. We're going to get a new Hellboy. Apparently, this is also going to be a rated R version of Hellboy, which I'm not sure it adds anything, to be honest. But, hey, if it gets them more creative flexibility in their script, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But, I am sad that Guillermo del Toro and Ron Perlman aren't going to be involved. I can't, you kind of get attached to one particular actor when you've seen them do such an amazing job in the films that you enjoy.
Totally. Excuse me. And then, obviously, with the technology evolving, hopefully they go with practical effects and actually makeup on the guy instead of a whole CG.
Yeah, I always loved how many practical effects Guillermo del Toro did with that. It holds up so well when you do that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, there's still some obviously CG scenes, and they don't look as awesome. Yeah. But all the practical stuff he did in the films, really it keeps it as the classic movie when you have all this stuff, because it doesn't fade with age as computer generated graphics improve. There's no retro comparison. Digression. Yeah. Making up words on the spot, folks. Mm-hmm. Okay, on to our last story. We have TV shows that have been renewed or canceled. A ton of stuff came out this week. News that some of your favorite shows made it into the next season, and some didn't as much. We got a really long list here. Is there anything here that you were either excited or saddened that either were renewed or canceled, man?
We talked about Powerless. It was a good comedic show. I wish Netflix would have picked it up, hopefully, and continue on it and actually get more licensed characters hotly on it and actually involved and with the characters, the main cast. But it sucks to see it go away. But we'll see what other things are coming out next. Now for the TV shows that are coming back, pretty much I've been behind on my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So to hear that it's still back and coming back, I can't wait to next season, because the last thing that I knew was the whole Ghost Rider thing. Yeah. So who knows what other new characters.
They also had a return of one of the supposedly dead characters that came back from somewhere, but I thought was not as well received. No, I forget his name. He was in season 1 and 2, he was the hero character, and then in I think season 3, he turned out to be an evil bad guy who joined Hydra.
That guy, yeah.
And then he gets hosted as by some alien parasite from another dimension or world, and he becomes Hive, and he's trying to take over all the other mutants on Earth, and then they kill him, and apparently he comes back. That one, exactly. It's a weird. Okay. It's a weird storyline, folks.
Good guy, bad guy, alien.
But for me, there are some great shows that I'm really happy to see it come back. Huge fan of the Goldbergs. Finally finished all those seasons on Hulu, and I'm caught up. It's an amazing show. I watched the first couple episodes originally, and just wasn't that first episode. I would really suggest you skipping if you're considering watching it. It's just not a good representation of the show, what it becomes later on, anyways. But once they get there, figure out what kind of show they want to be, it is absolutely hands down super funny, and I love it every episode. Me and my wife binge watch an episode a day until we caught up. It's that hilarious. Mm-hmm. But a lot of other shows are super funny. I'm glad that Speechless is coming back. I thought it was super funny that Once Upon a Time has been renewed, but their original cast, almost all of them are gone. They are not being renewed. The show is. So I'm including the main character. The blonde main character is gone, is leaving the show. So I'm super curious about what direction they're going to go in.
Who knows, unless it's a different chapter or one of those
Well, she's supposed to be the chosen one, so
pass
I'm like,
the powers to the the kid, or who knows.
I like the first season, but after that, it got complicated and weird. And I mean, that's fine. If you like the show, go watch it. Hey, have a good time. But for me, I'm like, it kind of fell off the rails very quickly after the first season. Yeah. I don't know if they planned like a super long storyline for this many seasons. And anytime that happens, it's just things are complicated.
Now you got a little short list for the cancel shows. Anyone you kind of wish they would still stay, or you're like,
Timeless was actually a really good time travel show, and it was originally canceled. Like the network had announced this show is being canceled, but the fans they took to social media, they cried out, and it was enough to get the producers to change their mind and bring it back. And like the cast was legitimately surprised. Like they threw a big party after they got the news from the studio saying, "Oh, we're
still getting paid.
We decided to keep your show after all." And it was like this big party that they had on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else. I'm like, "Oh, that's always a nice story to me." Because that's happened to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. several times.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Like every single
Family
season,
Guy.
that is what occurs. I mean, that also happened to Futurama. Mm-hmm. Like numerous times from like cancellation hell.
Oh, yeah.
But Powerless was one that I was sad to see. Everything else, I was like, man, it's not that great. I'm surprised it lasted this long.
Yeah, Dr. Ken, I didn't get a really chance to watch it, but I just love the lead actor on there.
Yes,
and hopefully, bigger, better things for him.
Well, he kind of it's kind of just his life in a comedic form because he's an actual doctor, and so I'm assuming he's taking the stories from his real life doctor days and incorporating them into comedic time slot. And it's short. I watched a few episodes. It was okay,
yeah,
but it never really hit me where it gets good. There weren't enough like emotional things. It was mostly just laugh gag, sometimes storyline, and that was it.
The more kind of character-istic version of himself that he's played in, of course, was in The Hangover.
Yes, that's the one that got him famous and made him quit his doctor job. So I'm like,
the paycheck was good.
Yes, the doctor money was better, and he, had a good time being well known. So good for him. I mean, I know other doctors who have doing other side gigs, and they're like, "This is my calling," and so I if that's the case for him, good for him. I mean, I'm sure he has plenty of money to make it through these lean years now.
Totally.
I mean, guess he could always go back to doctoring, and it'd be a step down for him.
People,
yeah, it could be a step down for the dude.
Save lives instead of making people laugh.
Yeah. Okay, on to movie trailer showdown. We have 4 trailers that are entering. Only one leaves as the winter. We have The Gifted TV teaser. We have The Mist TV trailer. The It trailer, which just came out. And Blade Runner 2049. These are all amazing trailers. Did you have a chance to watch any of them?
No.
No. And this is not his fault, by the way.
No, because
I wrote the show notes today, folks, as before we were recording, and I sent you while he was in the movie theater. So it is not a surprise that he hasn't gotten a chance to watch that.
I know.
But which one of these 4 do you think you would like just based on their titles?
I send the Eat teaser.
That's the Spanish version of it. It's like
teaser.
He's like, it's the Eat movie by Stefano King.
Did you watch the MTV/Now movie and TV awards now? They combined it now.
I don't know what that is at all. So no. What are you referring to?
It's barely relevant.
Did they show something?
They showed all the teasers on it. They showed your teasers to Blade Runner.
Okay.
So I caught a majority of it.
So you've seen Blade Runner 2049 then?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They even did a little teaser for
saw the teaser.
Spider-Man Homecoming and some of
that wasn't like new stuff though. I mean, that from the Spider-Man thing, if I recall.
Just extra scenes.
I think you would have liked the Mist trailer as well because that's another Stephen King movie we talked about last week. Like, I remember that movie being badass as well, and it's being produced as a television show now. It looked very American Horror Show good. You know what I mean? Like they took that level of creepy death, mutilation horror that they can do in television, and from that book, I should say. Yeah. So I think you would have enjoyed it. I also think you might have liked the Gifted TV trailer, even though it is that Bryan Singer XMen movie.
Once again with Bryan Singer, my feelings towards that guy.
With the guy from True Blood and Amy Acker, but there are apparently a whole host of new mutants coming out, including Eclipse, Blink, Polaris, Thunderbird, and Andy Strucker. So there are a lot of cool characters that are potentially in there, and they don't. In the trailer, you're pretty upfront about the powers thing.
Yeah, weird pools though. You got some future characters from weird timelines all in the same not genre, but
Yeah.
era. So funky, but making it work.
But for me, out of the four, the winner for me was definitely the trailer. I mean, I like the new glimpse from The Gifted, which is a really crappy title, because that's also the name of a movie that's come out recently. So I'm like, that's not, that's a marketing thing. They should fix. Yeah. And the Mist was cool. Blade Runner 2049 was nice in that they gave you some plot points from the movie, but it wasn't really enough to satisfy me personally. But it was creepy as hell. And that's all it needed to be. It needed to evoke that sense of, oh, stuff's gonna go down. That creepy ass clown is not out for a stroll in the park. And it does that and more, folks. If you've seen it, it really does have that same vibe from the original Stephen King movie. And this keeps it, especially with the kids just being kids and just finding horrible things. So I'm like, hey, there you go.
So with me, I was gonna go with for sure Gifted, just because of my curiosity of the X-Men, for my love for the X-Men. But like you said, Singer, but I'm more of a diehard that I'm willing to see X-Men garbage instead of, no X-Men at all.
Like I said, it's a decent trailer. I mean, we'll play it right now so that Edgar can watch it in silence as we talk about it. Right. I mean, it's like I said, it's just a teaser. It doesn't tell you a ton of information. You don't actually see even like Stephen Meyer in it. Yeah. It really focuses on like the kids being targeted by some government entity, and them kind of showing a few powers basically, and like release date. So it's very short, but it does give you kind of like, oh, they're not hiding all that mutant stuff in this particular one. So that to me is enough to be like, oh, this might be decent. It might be worth my time. But we'll have to wait and see. That's it, folks. We're done. Finished. Finito. Complete. Thank you very much for watching, folks. If you want to help support the podcast, you can find out all the ways you do so at
geekbytespodcast.com/support.
That's it, folks. Thanks again for listening and watching and hanging out with us as we talk about a bunch of geeky stuff that we love and enjoy talking about. Until we can see you again, remember, I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Acosta.
Remember, folks, to go geek out about something.